been taken for granted for far too long.
Sunderland, a north-eastern city, once known for its shipbuilding, now known for its football, its beaches and Nissan. But it's suffering severely from regional inequality.
For too many people, geography turns out to be destiny.
And there's doubts over whether levelling up will actually work.
I see levelling up as a lot of warm words, but not a great deal in terms of delivery.
As far as funding and finance from the government, we're lacking a bit.
Welcome to Sunderland. This is my home city and a place that's incredibly close to my heart. It's a city of almost 300,000 people and it's one with great history. It once built a quarter of the world's ships, helped to inspire Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, and was the second home to the artist Ellis Lowry. But as I get older, I become increasingly more concerned about the impact of regional inequality. But how does Sunderland suffer from this? Well, the North East is the region with the lowest average disposable income per year in the UK. Whereas the UK average is just over 21,000, the North East is only 17,000, and Sunderland's is just 16,000. That's 24.2% lower than the UK average. This is despite Sunderland having a higher productivity rate than the national average. Productivity here is measured by the value of economic input per person. As you can see, the UK's average is £35, the North East's is £30, and Sunderland's is £37. That's 6% higher than the national average. Productivity is so high in Sunderland because it's the home to Nissan. Nissan makes 1 in 3 of the UK's cars, which means it's the biggest car manufacturer the UK has ever produced. There is a clear economic inequality in the UK, which Prime Minister Boris Johnson highlighted at the most recent Conservative Party conference.
We have one of the most imbalanced societies and lopsided economies of all the richer countries.
So what's caused this inequality? Well, Sunderland in the North East as a whole has been overlooked and ignored since the decline of its shipbuilding in the 1980s.
It's much more difficult for the North East, even though it has a similar population level to Wales and Northern Ireland, to project itself at national level in the same way. And then allied to that, of course, is the fact that the North East has had economic difficulties resulting from levels of deindustrialisation, which have made the North East situation difficult.
This lack of attention has not only led to an economic impact for Sunderland, but it's also led to a feeling of apathy in the city because they feel uncared for and ignored by Westminster.
You can't take it for granted anymore because it's been too long and there's been nothing, no investment, no opportunities for young people, no one fighting for them. It's a safe seat for Labour and so they'll not fight for Sunderland. It's not a split city in the sense of party affiliation, so they know they're going to get something, so why fight for them, why provide investment if they're always going to vote for Labour anyway?
This feeling has led to many in Sunderland searching for change and impact. The 3 Labour MPs of Sunderland lost as much as 18% of their vote in the 2019 election. However, it's not just national politics that they feel have been let down by, but locally as well.
I think we've had a very misguided Labour council for too long, and I think that really comes to fruition when you look at Newcastle. Since 1999-2000, Newcastle City Council's had a completely different vision and followed it through with the city.
Labour have lost 26 seats since 2016 in Sunderland's council. The Conservatives have tripled their seats, with the Lib Dems going from 1 to 14. Now, I contacted Sunderland Council for a reply about Melanie's comments and those figures, but received no comment. But Sunderland's not the only place in so-called red wall areas that have witnessed a Labour decline and more popularity for the Conservatives. As a result of this, Boris Johnson's premiership have promised to level up. But what is levelling up? Well, in a statement from the Levelling Up department, the Levelling Up white paper sets out a blueprint for how we will reverse the country's geographical inequalities, spread opportunity, and unlock billions in extra investment. This is to shift focus and resources to Britain's forgotten communities. For many in the city, levelling up is something which they feel necessary for Sunderland to prosper and keep up with other areas of the UK.
I think it's probably true that Sunderland's voice has not been heard, but I think there is also a feeling generally that the North East has not prospered to the extent that other parts of the country have, and there's clearly a wish to level up. to join in, to benefit as other parts of the country have benefited as well.
But whilst the idea of levelling up is welcomed, there are question marks over its benefit to Sunderland. For example, in the white paper released by the government, Sunderland was mentioned only once. This means Labour MPs are doubting the true intentions of the scheme.
The IPPR North did a report, and local authorities across the north have lost per person about £431 per head. The levelling up money that's come supposedly to sort of lift us all, to make us all equal with the rest of the country, comes to £31 per head. So we've had, anyone do the maths there, if you've had £431 to go in and you've been given 31, you're not going to feel you're getting a really good deal.
So for a city that clearly needs levelling up, will Sunderland ever benefit from it? Well, the government has announced that 20 places in England are going to be transformed through an ambitious regeneration programme. But Sunderland's not yet been mentioned. And with a Labour holding the council elections, will either Labour or the Conservatives look to push investment in the city? I went out to ask the people of Sunderland what they thought of levelling up and what they think the future holds for the city. Have you heard about levelling up? Do you know what levelling up is?
I've heard about levelling up, but I don't actually think anybody really knows what it is.
It's all right talking about levelling up, but I think we're 50, 60 years away from having the right amount of investment here.
I think it's got to change. It's a city, it's not a small town, and it should be recognised. But I think we're being left behind a bit as far as funding and finance from the government. We're lacking a bit.
To me, they just don't know about the North East. That the politicians would get their act together and get this a proper tourist area, because it is absolutely beautiful. I like to see it happen, but when it happens, probably I'll be here then.